How we looking? 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 Can they hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all do 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 do? Okay, let's do this here. Try to be quick, man. We're gonna try to be efficient. Going live on going in. What's up? What's up? Let's see here. That should be on this side. Maybe that should be over yonder. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I don't like that there. Yeah. Um, over here maybe. Trying to set up my Instagram to go live at the same time as we are live here. Live, 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 live. Oh man, I forgot something. Be back. Ba, 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 ba. What's up, everybody? What's Hello? Let's see here. I'm curious if this is. Oh, let's see here. I'm not. My mic is working. It seems. And so you're seeing me in real time. I could be doing all this talking and I could be failing. Okay, here it is, I think. Let's see here. Well, IG got it. If no one else got it, um, everything happens for a reason. Yes, my IG folks. Fina gets it. I appreciate you, Fina. It's me and you tonight. We are learning this, and this is a requirement. You gotta. I think I just recorded about 15 minutes, maybe 18 minutes on YouTube, and the mic wasn't on because no one told me they couldn't hear me. But on IG, I was able to get feedback very quickly, and that feedback I was able to adjust on Instagram, and so I got my mic there because I've got my girl Fina here has been giving me feedback, but on YouTube, I didn't have any feedback, and I just happened to look down and say, "Is this thing on?" And I saw red, which when you're using a mic, you typically don't want to see red; you want to see green. But the point that I was making, if you're just now joining us, if you're just now able to hear this, is that you've got to be willing to fail. That is a requirement. And sometimes things are not working because you don't know the requirements. But in business, when you're trying to start a podcast, when you're trying to, teach people about business, you got to be willing to fail. I haven't gone live in a long time. I just went live last week, but prior to that, I haven't been live in probably, gosh, I don't even know, probably over a year. If not longer than that. So I've forgotten how to use the equipment. I've forgotten the things to check for. But now that I just failed potentially, now that is now cemented in my mind that the next time I get on here and go live, I got to make sure my mic is working. I got to make sure that I'm tuned up and I'm ready to go. Because if you don't get out there and fail, you're just going to limit your learnings. Failure is actually your friend. People that have succeeded in business are very familiar with failure, and they're not scared of it. They don't cry about it. They just keep going. And even if they do cry, they cry and they go. And even if they do get mad, they get mad and they keep going. Like, you can't let your emotions stop you from moving forward. And one of the requirements that you must have when you're trying to build a business, build a side hustle, build a second stream of income, and build anything, build a relationship, build your life, just so you can really maximize your time here on earth, you've got to realize that there are going to be failures. That's part of it. It's not the end of the world. It's just a part of it. And that's a requirement. Things will work better when you realize that, failure is part of this. And I think many of us just don't know that. No one's ever told them that, failure is a part of success. It's a big part of it. What did Fina say here? I realize that failure is the process of making us aware of something. Absolutely. It's really an information feedback. That is what failure is. I love that. Failure is really just someone giving you feedback. One of my first jobs was McDonald's. I used to work at McDonald's. And so if somebody says they don't like their food, you could get mad, you can get upset, but really it's really making you aware of, oh, maybe something failed in the process. Maybe the bun wasn't cooked right. Maybe the sandwich wasn't wrapped correctly. Maybe the fries were old. And so that feedback, that failure is actually a good thing because I want to do my best. I want to be my best. I want to give you the best version of myself. And even as it relates to McDonald's, I want to give you the best food. Not saying that that's healthy food, but that was my first job. So, being able to give you the best is what typically we should be pushing for. But you're never going to get the best if you can't receive feedback, because that's what failure is. I love that, Fina, what you said, because failure is really feedback. You got to rethink failure. Failure is not the end. It's not over. Failure is feedback. Failure is feedback. And who doesn't want feedback? Well, a lot of people. But folks who are successful and who want to be successful and who want to make a lot of money and who want to succeed at a high level and who want to have a lot of influence and have strong relationships and have a strong family life and have a strong, just a variety of strengths, like really maximizing their time here on earth, they understand the requirement that failure is a part of success. All right, so that's one requirement mentally that we've got to learn. We've got to understand that. Number two, as it relates to requirements, is that you also have to get help. This is a requirement. When I was working on the printer earlier, for those who did hear that story, that I had to find somebody else in the building who could help me with the printer. I had to get help. And it's a requirement. Sometimes things are not working because you don't realize there's a requirement to get help. Like you're not going to be able to do this without help. You're not going to be able to succeed without help. And one of my mentors always says, you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. Do you have the right team in place? Do you have the right help in place? Right? And sometimes you don't. But what can you do to build the right team? Everything isn't found. Some things are built. But you've got to get help. And it's a requirement at times to seek help. Too many times we try to figure out everything on our own. And in some respects, we should. We should try to figure out things on our own. But in other respects, we shouldn't. We should seek help. Get help as soon as you can. Get the right type of help. And if you thought you got help, but you didn't really get help, get some new help, right? It's like if you go to one doctor and you still feel bad, you go to another doctor. Like you've got to get the right type of help. And we understand this when it relates to our bodies. Well, some of us do at least. But when it relates to our business, we don't understand it. We end up forgetting what's going on. Thanks. Thing still feels like it's. Why does it keep doing that? Still feel like I will only know at the end. Thanks, Fina. Me and Fina, it's you and me today. You got my back on this, but I will only know at the end whether or not I was truly able. If folks were able to hear me. Testing, testing. Let's see when I hit that. That has to be off. Testing, testing. Okay, yeah. The audio on this is gonna be thanks, Fina. The audio on the YouTube is gonna be spotty. But I may keep this up. I may keep it up because I want you to see the transparent, real life failure that I just went through. Trying to deal with this, trying to understand what to do, trying to get through alive, trying to get on here and figure out what to say, and all that. So not only do you have to experience failure in real time with real situations that you're doing, but you also have to understand how to experience failure in your mind. And you, number two, have to understand how to get help. You've got to get help for your dreams and your goals. And there's so many places you can get help. Hopefully, I am one of those places that can be a help to you. And why do I want to be a help? Because I know that if I am a help, that you're going to succeed, and I'm gonna get some credit for that. If not physically, spiritually. Like, hey, be helpful to people. And so you guys can you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, IG. If you're not on my YouTube channel, go to youtube.com/StephenMotivate and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get help. Many times in business, in life, we don't get enough help. And we're going through life trying to do our best, trying to do what we know to do. But if you don't have the help you need, then it's tough. It's tough to get where you need to go without the help you need. You may need to talk to someone about your business. And you may need to talk to someone more than once. You may need to talk to someone about your relationship, about your family, about your career. You've got to seek help. And too many times we're prideful. We are afraid. We lack vulnerability. We lack, I don't know that. You've got to be willing to say you don't know. And I think, depending on how you grew up and what your family dynamic was and all of that, it impacts whether or not you're willing to get help. Now, for me, I'm the youngest of four. So I have an older sister and two older brothers. And so I'm the youngest. Something in me innately, I've always been asking for help because I'm the youngest. It's easy for me to say, hey, I need help because I've always done that, right? It's been like the substratum of my life. It's been the foundation of how I've grown up. I had 3 different examples. But if you talk to some of my older siblings, they may feel a bit different because in many times they had to do things on their own. They had to figure it out on their own or do this, or they were the ones giving the help, not getting the help. And when you grow up like that, when you feel like you're alone, when you feel like I've got to do it myself, there's a tendency not to get as much help as you could get because you've never gotten help. That's not the way you've gone through life. But I'm here to tell you that in business, it is a requirement that you get help. There are going to be things that you come up against that are too big for you. You've got dreams inside of you that are too big for you. You've got goals inside of you that are too big for just you. And so we're in a time where getting help is so important. And we've got to release the emotion, the negative connotation with getting help. It's not a diss. It's not a bad thing. It's not something you should regret. You've got to be willing to get help. What's Fina saying here? You can't do anything alone. Nothing significant is done alone. You can do some stuff alone, but it won't be significant. Not for long. It won't be as big as it could be. It won't be as great as it can be. You've got to get help. So stop going through life. Stop going through your business without getting help. And look, I'm here to help you. I will help you as much as I can. And I want you to help me. If there's ways you can help me, let's help each other. Let's be a community of helping each other, not holding back information and trying to, do this sort of thing. No, try to actually help people. You don't have to lock the gate or be a gatekeeper, as they call it. If you have the capacity to help, and actually the Bible says this too. The Bible says if it's in your ability, if it's near you, if it's by you, and it's in your ability to give to someone, don't tell somebody to come back tomorrow. Don't make them wait. If you can help, be a help, right? And if you need help, which many of us do. That's why it's not working, because we haven't got the help we needed. That's a requirement to understand mentally, man, I need some help in this area. Okay. All right. Last point. Why is it not working? What are the requirements that we need to make it work? What are the requirements that we need to actually make it work? You've got to be tenacious. You've got to stay after it. You can't give up. You don't get to give up. You don't get to quit. You don't get to throw in the towel. You don't get to stay in the dumps. You got to keep going. You got to move forward. You cannot stay stuck in the past. You cannot stay stuck. You can't give up. You can't stay stuck, and you can't give up. Right? It took me away from my day. Before I continue on that point, let me read what Fina said. Some people think that sharing what they know, that they will lose something, but that's not true. That's absolutely right. You're going to gain more. The Bible says it is better to give than to receive. It is better to give than to receive. It's a blessing to give. What does it mean to be blessed? That means you have supernatural favor on you when you give. So don't be afraid to give, thinking, oh, I'm going to lose something. Yes, business is competitive. I'm not saying give away everything. And I'm not saying think that you can give everything to everybody. There has to be wisdom and judgment in how you give. You don't want to give to someone that just wants to take. You don't want to give in a way that feels like you're being taken advantage of. But you do want to give freely. If it's in your capacity, if you've got the time, if you've got the knowledge, give it away. And watch how blessings will start to overtake you. Watch how good things will start to happen to you. Watch how you'll start to get good connections, because you're not holding on to things thinking that you're going to lose something. No, when a closed hand is not able to get anything, but open hands can freely give and freely receive. Freely, I think it was Paul who said in the Bible, that which I was freely given, I freely give. You know, a lot of the blessings, a lot of the talents we have, a lot of the knowledge we have, we were given this. And you've got to work for some of the things you got. Absolutely. I'm not dismissing that. But some of these things you were given, and you've got to be willing to freely give. So great point there, Fina. Be willing to give freely. So let's get back to our last point, requirement. We're talking about why it's not working. Sometimes it's not working because you don't know the requirements. If you knew the requirements, it would work, right? If you knew that the TV had to be plugged into electricity to turn on, it would work. There's nothing wrong with the TV. What's wrong is you don't know the requirements. And for business, for success, for achievement, for goal setting and goal accomplishing, the third thing that you've got to understand that's required is you can't give up. You can't give up, and you can't stay stuck. You've got to keep pouring gas on it. You've got to keep pushing on the accelerator. You've got to keep going at it. And so you've got to be wise in this. You've got to be wise, right? Because there's a few things that'll stop you, right? You run out of money on your business, that'll stop you. So you got to be careful about, I'm going to go get help and I spend $1 million to do so. Now, wait a minute. That may not be wise. You do need to get help, and you do need to be willing to go all in and not give up, but you may not need to spend all your money. There's a lot of free resources out here. And again, hopefully I'm one of them for you, but one of the requirements is you can't give up. You've got to keep pushing through. So back to the printer example. If I would have given up on the printer today, there would have been a cost to that. Now, it took away from my day. It took away from my time. I'm going to pay for it in some way. It's going to my day, I didn't get accomplished as much as I wanted to because that printer started messing up unexpectedly. And I had to stay on that until it was fixed. It probably took an hour out of my day, which is very precious to me because I care about my time and I want to always use my time wisely. And so you've got to understand that in your business, for your side hustle, you've got to stay on the gas. The moment you give up is the moment you lose. The moment you stop is the moment you lose. If you don't stop, you don't lose. If you keep going, you don't lose. You may learn a lot, but like we said earlier, failure is learning. Failure is actually a requirement to success. So if we can keep our mind understanding the requirements, then we don't give up because we fail. We don't give up because the first product didn't sell. We go find the other product. We go figure out, why is it not selling? What am I doing wrong? We go get help, right? But we don't give up. We fail, we get help, we don't give up. We fail, we get help, we don't give up, right? If you stay in that cycle, then eventually, I guarantee you, you will succeed. I guarantee you, you will succeed because that's what's required. You got to fail. You got to get some help. You're not going to be able to do it yourself, and you can't give up. So if you look at your life, if you look at areas that aren't working, think about this. Did I give up when failure came? Did failure stop me? When the thing didn't work out, did I just say, you know what? I'm not going to keep going, right? It's like me when I first started to run track. I ran track for one day. I went to the school and they was doing the track thing. There's a couple sports I did for one day. I think I did football for one day. I did track for one day. I may have been I'm pretty fast. I was always fast growing up, but I gave up. I gave up after one try. I gave up. So of course I'm not a track star today because I gave up. And you know, all's good and well. Maybe that wasn't for me, but in your business, in the thing you're going to do, and you may not have found it yet, but once you find it, and even before you find it, don't give up. Know that you will find it. You will find that thing. You can't let failure stop you. You can't let failure stop you. You're going to fail. Failing is a requirement. And that's what I'm trying to teach you tonight, is that failure is a requirement. There is no one who's done anything significant that hasn't failed. Number two, there is no one that's done anything significant that hasn't gotten help. That's number two. You've got to get help. You've got to get help. You've got to talk to a business coach. You've got to talk to a mentor. You've got to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about. I don't mean get help from just anybody. Talk to somebody that's seen some success, that's actually achieved a bit. Talk to somebody that you admire, that you look up to, that you say, man, I could see myself doing that. I wonder how they did that. I wonder what I could learn. That's where you get help. No one has done anything significant without getting help. Significant things are done with partners, are done with groups, are done in teams. You don't do anything significant alone. You really don't. And then number three, you do not give up. No one has done anything significant in an area where they've given up. It's literally impossible. If you give up in the area, I can guarantee you, you will do nothing significant in that area. And you've got to find what area is for you. You've got to find what works for you. You have to find what